Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Disco Shaman TV. Today I have a very special friend of mine, Nash Bulla. Welcome to the show, bro.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm feeling wonderful and blessed to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We just had some nice Indonesian food.
We did.
Just down the road.
Delicious.
So what's your background?
I'm an electrical engineer by profession.
Yeah.
And I'm semi-retired. In November, I turned 52. I've been living in Perth for 6 years.
Yeah.
Dad started the company in 1979. And
Is this Alpha Group?
Yep.
Okay.
Dad started it under a different name. His name was B. Mokam Singh, and it was a consulting engineers company.
Okay.
Dad only had two divisions in that. I joined him when I came back from the UK in 1990 when I was 20 with a first class honours in electrical engineering. And I worked pretty hard with Dad, and Dad was a tough guy to work under. And over time, I realized the one thing that would make a difference is marketing. And I kept expanding and expanding. And one day I told Dad, I think in this town, we've become the biggest fish in a small pond. And so Dad said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to the capital, Kuala Lumpur, and expand. And that's what we did. We moved to the capital, and 10 years later, the new business we started in Kuala Lumpur became bigger than Dad's original business. And a couple of years later, we opened a branch in the north. So the One Alpha Group today is a one-stop electrical solution provider for the whole country, and we have over 1,000 clients.
Wow. What was the one major point that allowed you to expand at such vast proportions, right? So you said marketing was your main emphasis.
Correct.
What was it that you were using to get out there and push the boundaries?
That's a great question. The one thing that I've always consistently believed in is doing more, giving the customers more than what our competitors were willing to do. So I could do things to generate value that would keep them loyal to us. Like there was a simple example in Malaysia, a lot of the billing that the utility companies do for commercial and industrial clients, they tend not to give them the best tariff. And I specialize in this. I could zoom in and I could find which areas were not optimized. My competitors hate me because very few people did that. And I would get serious savings for the clients, like 30,000 a month off their utility bills, just by finding that I needed to apply to the power company to change something. And they would pay me that difference for at least a year. And
Wow.
that's how we grew.
So you were adding value to the life of these people in a way that they didn't expect it.
Correct. You check out this website, onealphagroup.com.
Onealphagroup.com.
Yeah,
If you're in
and-
Malaysia, check it out. If you guys need anything with electrical solutions, that's where you go.
www.onealpha, one is O-N-E, A-L-P-H-A, onealphagroup.com, and just go and look under the section on testimonials. We have so many clients who write brilliant letters that they're happy with our service. So engineering is something I've done naturally. I've done it for 20 over years. I often laugh and say I can condense a 3-year electrical engineering degree course in 3 hours. I could teach you in 3 hours what you would learn in 3 years, because I would only pick the stuff that's going to be applicable.
About electricity.
Yep, like I can design up to 33,000 volts. I design substations, I size transformers, cables, switchboards. I calculate the settings on the protection relays. I could design the whole thing. And the whole shebang, I write it up as a tender, and that's what I've done. I've done hundreds of millions of infrastructure projects in Malaysia. But I've done it, I'm good at it, but I realize there's more to life than that. And I realized that I wanted my family to grow up in a better country, and I moved them to Australia. We've been here 6 years, and wow, the life here is so different from Malaysia.
Yeah, definitely. You know when you look at building these subsystems, these electrical switchboards and all this stuff, do you think there's any similarity between how the electricity flows through these systems in comparison to the human body? How energy flows in us?
That's a really interesting analogy. There is similarity. If you look at the distribution system in the body, we have the system that distributes blood, circulatory system, and we have the lymphatic system. You have a major organ, which is the heart, which, if I needed to have a comparison, would be the transformer. The transformer is the heart of power distribution, and how it goes from a certain voltage level to another lower voltage level to the final consumer, that being the capillaries, you know.
So if the heart was to send too much, what would you call it, energy?
Yep.
To the capillaries, they'll just
overpower the capillaries will burst, and it wouldn't be good. So energy should be regulated, you know, at all levels.
How energy can get stuck also?
Yep.
Does this happen in transformers? Like energy can get stuck in a certain point?
Energy can be stuck, energy can be floating, and energy can be lost. So one of the things, it can be dissipated in I square R. I square R would be the heat losses of power generation. Even in a transformer, a certain percentage of the capacity of the transformer can never be utilized.
Dude,
that's why when I design, say, a 1,000 kVA or 2,000 kVA transformer, I would only go up to 80% of the rating. Because if you ever want to use 100% of the transformer, you're going to shorten that transformer's lifespan. It's the same as our human heart. If I'm supposed to run and my optimal heartbeat is 150 beats, if I try and run 180 beats, I'm going to reduce my lifespan. So even electrical power equipment have an optimal generation zone.
Wow.
You don't want to stress electrical equipment too much. And the higher you run it, the more your losses.
That's a very good analogy for us in this environment that we are in. We live in this very high octane, high stress environment, and we're using all of this energy to create our reality.
Yep.
And maybe that energy is not needed to create that reality. Maybe we need to look into a different way of manifesting, of being able to bring our image into the world that doesn't require that amount of physical energy.
Exactly. What I do is I like to manifest things easily. I step it down a notch. I go quiet within myself every day, and in that zone, whatever I think about, whatever I focus on, seems to come to me easily, and that's how I do my manifestation. A lot of the growth in 1-alpha and also the growth that I have experienced in Perth is stuff that I see and I can bring forth to me easily.
So you were doing this when you were growing your company in Malaysia?
I was meditating since I was 17, and I joined my dad when I was 20. By the age of 40 plus, the company had already become 5 times its size, and today we've grown it to at least 10 times its size. And the one thing I really love is this word called leverage. Leverage for me means doing more with less, where we hire good people, we train them up, and we give them the freedom to do. I've been living here for 2.5 years since COVID. I haven't gone back. I used to fly in and out to Malaysia, like 4 weeks there and come back for 10 days. And the minute COVID hit, I couldn't go back. Most people, if you are not there as the boss, your business would close down. The business has sustained and it's giving me passive income every month for the last 2.5 years. And only this Sunday, I'm flying back for 5 weeks to fine-tune certain aspects of the business and to motivate the team and to say a big thank you to them.
How do you incorporate trust and efficiency in leverage? Like, for example, you have a company that produces nuts, right? And part of producing these nuts is the quality control.
Of course.
Right? How do you leverage employee labor in a company like that?
Right. So the simple way to answer that is, first of all, choose the right people, empower them. And what I did with one guy who was my best friend, and he's a general manager of a hotel, nothing to do with engineering, but we used to sit down and have a cup of tea ever so often. And I would jokingly ask him, I would say to him, would you ever work for me? And one day after 2 years, he said, I'm getting tired of being a general manager of a big hotel. Maybe I will come and join you. And he had the human skills to come and add value to us. I gave him the technical training. But what I loved is he served us so honestly. After a year, to answer your question, I gave him free 20% shareholding in the company. That tied him up. That made him even more loyal. And he has his integrity. He has his values. He's been empowered and trained by us. And I stretched his wings and he's flying. And he's been flying and leading the organization for 2.5 years. He's very tired. He's waiting for me to come back so he can go on holiday. But so that's in people. But if you want to have leverage in making nuts, for example, you need to be able to state what the process is at every stage of the way and fully document it, and then ensure that every cog in that wheel can operate smoothly with or without the management. The one thing I hate is micromanaging people.
Yeah.
If you want to micromanage, it's so old school. If you want to walk around the office and look down, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's not us. We believe that our people will always do the best. Of course, when the cat is away, the mice will play, as they say. But to the best of my knowledge, 2.5 years later, the business has sustained the biggest impact, which was COVID, has continued to keep our good relations with our existing clients. And I've been hearing the last few months, since the markets opened up, they've been getting new customers.
Hell yeah.
So I'm really happy.
Okay, cool. Let's shoot to question number 2. What's Nash here to do? What's Nash's passion?
Oh, wow. I want to leave this world a better place.
I thought you were just going to say, I want to leave this world.
I want to leave this world.
That's your passion?
At least 20 years. I want to be here for at least 20 more years.
Okay, cool.
I want to leave this world a better place than I was born into. So what I mean is, my dad started life in a really difficult way. His dad passed when he was 14, and he's the eldest male sibling in the family. He had to take on the responsibility of having so many mouths to feed and so much to do. To his credit, despite coming from hardcore, abject poverty, he made it to university.
Hustler, just made it.
Made it to university. And he was so determined. When he graduated, the National Electricity Board of Malaysia grabbed him as an engineer, and he went vroom, right pretty high up there in management to the point of a senior district manager. And at an age that most people would say, the family member said to him, brother, please stay on. It's a government job. You are an executive. You have corporate bungalows for free on holidays in great places. You have low interest loans. You have all these benefits of being in the government sector. You know, my dad did? He resigned from the government sector. And he started a private consultancy firm in Johor Bahru in the south. And from that, he told me, son, the day I did that, I saw my income increase. So my dad took a lot of risks. And once he amassed his income, he invested it wisely. He bought property that increased like crazy. And he was also very astute in buying shares in the share market. He would have thick books by his bedside table, and he'd wake up in the wee hours of the morning and he'd be reading all these annual reports of companies, and then he would buy these shares. So the point I'm trying to make is education was the thing that made the difference in his life. And what I'm passionate about in this life is to provide education to the poorest children in the world who otherwise would not have the opportunity to study. I have a lovely soulmate, my wife Cynthia. She has the same heart that I do. We've been paying for children to be educated in Nepal and Sri Lanka and Malaysia for more than 10 years. But I want to scale it up. Instead of paying for 5 to 10 kids in these countries every month, how about we do 1,000 kids at least in each of these countries? How about we set up 100 new schools in all of these countries? And so that's my life purpose. That's my mission. How do we really make a difference in this world through educating children who could go on to become fantastic global citizens and make an impact in this world?
What makes a fantastic global citizen, though?
Oh, wow. Beautiful question. Someone that has the heart for another. Someone that is not in it for themselves. Someone that wants to give more of themselves than what they want to take from the universe.
But that's not taught in schools, is it?
Nope,
That type of education. So the education you're talking about is an education that is much more holistic education.
Exactly.
So you would have academics in it, but you'd also have these other teachings of values and principles.
That's right.
How do you teach those?
Life skills. Google Dignity for Children. It's an amazing charity that started in Malaysia by two people, also a Punjabi chap married to a Chinese.
Yeah.
And they started with just 2 or 3 children that were living in poverty by the roadside, covered in their own dirt and with sores on their body.
Sores?
Cuts, open wounds, festering,
Okay.
covered in feces. And the wife saw this and said, this cannot go on. And she took in these children and she gave them education.
Oh, yeah.
And today, that Dignity for Children has impacted thousands of children's lives. Many of them are refugees in Malaysia from other countries, and they have gone out to the levels, have surpassed and exceeded the expectations.
Yeah.
So when children don't have the opportunity to study and you empower them by giving them the greatest gift, part of that is going to be nurturing their values. And the values are taught in dignity. Kindness, self-reliance, being humble, hardworking, being honest. And what Dignity for Children does that's different from normal curriculum is they actually operate small little micro schemes to teach them. They have a hairdressing salon, they have a bakery, they have a farm, and they have a car mechanic center. So you learn the academics, and then you're placed in all these other things. And some of these kids go back to their countries where they originated from as refugees, and they go back and open their own businesses. So you have educated them, you have empowered them, and you have given them a life skill that they can use to perhaps provide for others in their country.
You've been very handy in the kitchen recently.
I'm an amateur cook. The first thing I cooked for my missus, and that time we were courting, and she said it was awful. I learned cooking in my 30s, and I have been struggling with it because I'm not a natural cook. I'm an engineer. I like to measure things.
But you could see cooking as an ingenuity too.
That's what I want to do. I want to make cooking simple. So in June this year, I started a channel called Papa Nash. And Papa Nash's mission is to find recipes that are relatively simple and make them even simpler so that anyone can cook. I don't want to copy Tony Fernandez from AirAsia. He says, now everyone can fly. But if I really wanted to think of a tagline, if you watch Papa Nash, I believe now everybody can cook. No one can say they can't cook.
I think a lot of white people could benefit from that.
Oh, people all over the world can. And
no, especially white people. Sometimes, man, the flavor. Like when I go to my wife's family home,
right,
they do an amazing job of cooking the dinner.
Right.
But it's just very plain.
Yep.
So I take my own salts, my own grains and stuff.
Dear.
You know what I mean?
Dear. Okay.
Yeah. So like I think countries like these, like Australia, they love ethnic food.
I found that to be true. A lot of my friends in Australia
just
are
the
white,
effort that goes into it.
and they're experimenting with curries. I've got a chicken curry recipe. I've got rendang. I've got nasi lemak, which is a Malaysian classic favorite breakfast dish. I've got many dishes, but I do my best to make them simple. And I believe food unites us all. And Papa Nash is a creation of mine that might one day involve a lot of other people who are better cooks than I am being on the channel, because I'm learning, I'm still improving in my cooking.
Nice. You know, you could create your own little sachets, you know, like with like pre-made food, like you know, Shan masala.
Yep.
But like Papa Nash brand, like
I was thinking of that.
ready to go, and then all you got to do is just put it in, chicken in, ready to go. Done.
I've done that in a not a professional sense. When I cook my chicken curry, I cook from scratch. I blend some ginger, some garlic, and all the fragrant spices and herbs, and then it becomes a curry paste. And you can stop there. You can take the paste, you can freeze it for 3 months, you can keep it in the fridge for 2 weeks. You take the paste out, and I learned this from a good friend.
This is no preservatives, nothing.
No preservatives, all natural.
All natural.
You can add in vegetables, and you can make a vegetable curry. You can add in potatoes and chicken. You have a brilliant Malaysian chicken curry.
So this is not like the shopping center paste?
No.
Okay.
This is homemade with lots of love.
Okay.
And no preservatives. And I've tested this out.
Is the love gluten-free?
Oh, it is all gluten-free. All my friends who have tried the food, they all say, Nash, you're the best cook we have met. And I would dispute that. But yeah, the idea has come to me that to shorten cooking time, to make the paste takes me half an hour. To cook the curry takes me another half an hour. It's an hour, a labor of love. But if you have the paste, you can whip up a beautiful curry within half an hour.
Bang, mass produce it, man. Make it in a massive pot. Beautiful ingredients, you know what I mean? Put your love in there, whatever it is. And because I go to the shops, man, and there's all these ingredients on the things that I don't understand. Preservative 102, preservative 106. The numbers, like, come on. It's a bit too intense for me. So, like, I just keep it simple.
For those of you who love nasi lemak, you will know that a nasi lemak is only as good as its sambal. Sambal is that red chili sauce that goes with it. And I love making it. When I used to make nasi lemak and I had lots of people try it, some of them asked me for that sambal in a jar, that they would just want to have that sambal by itself. So it's slightly sweet, slightly sour, slightly spicy. It's an amazing infusion of onions and a few other beautiful fragrant herbs, like we have some turmeric in there, we have lemongrass. It can go with anything. It can be a condiment, it can be an accompaniment, it can be, you
sambal
can add
goes
it.
with anything.
Lovely. Yeah. I'm getting hungry just talking about sambal.
Well, I think you need to make me one, and then I can vouch for the viewers that this sambal is A1. So, why is, let's get to question number 3. Why is cooking important? Like what's the big deal about cooking? Like, why not just go to like Woolworths, grab a frozen pizza, smack it in the oven, and eat that? And you know, what's the point of rushing, like, you know, buying all these ingredients and cooking a nice meal? Like, what is it?
First thing is, I'm Punjabi, and Punjabis are like Italians. We love to feed people, and we love good food, and we love simple food. And in my house, anyone who dropped by without any notice would be fed. And I think this is similar of a few people I've met. So food unites us. And if food unites us and tasty food even unites us even more, why not spread that with people who are used to having food that is otherwise, for want of a better word, bland. A pizza or a sandwich is only that delightful. But if you can just make it Asian, like today you have pies, like your cottage pie or your other British pies. A lot of people are starting to put Asian fillings in traditional British pies. That's fusion.
I think I've seen this. Thai green curry pie.
Yep.
I saw this. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. You have Cornish pasties with Asian filling. Why not? I mean, beef
people
rendang
are
is delicious.
People are doing interracial marriages, right? You know what I mean? Like, you got Aussies going to Bali and marrying Indonesians. It's almost like, obviously the food's going to also find a completely new mix and a new creative emergence.
Talk about that. My wife's Chinese, I'm Punjabi. Her mum is a brilliant cook, and she's coming to stay with us for a while. Her mum can just go into the kitchen and come out with these amazing dishes, and I get really pissed off because she does it effortlessly and she doesn't measure. So she just goes a bit of this, a bit of this.
That's when you know.
And every dish is good.
Yeah.
So I'm the idiot following behind her. Wait. And how much of that? Half a teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, how much of salt? And she goes, I don't know, I don't measure. No, wait, you measure now and tell me. And that's what you'll find on the channel, Papa Nash. You'll find amazing recipes that are from me, that are probably her recipes, and other good cooks.
Probably her recipes.
And they're better cooks, many better cooks than I am, that I've gone and stolen recipes from. And I've tried them out. There was one lady, a lawyer in Perth. She taught me Punjabi dal, her style, and they were so good. But the one thing she never told me was how much water in the pot. So I know the pot had this much water. I was so frustrated when I was trying to make it. I turned off the fire, jumped on my bicycle. I biked half an hour to her house, and I said, stop everything. Pretend you're going to cook the dal now. Put it there. And I measured using a glass container, how many liters of water or milliliters of water, and came back and made it. And my wife Cynthia said, that's about 80% there. And so that dish is down and dusted. I can make that. But there's a joy in actually being precise, because when you duplicate it, say you want to make a paste, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it can't depend on the cook's mood or a bit of this and a bit of that.
Yeah, true.
So I have my work cut out for me. There's so many good cooks around me. I'm going to go to them and decipher their amazing recipes and quantify it and put it out there on the channel. So you visit papanash.com to watch me cook on YouTube. Papa Nash on YouTube, but you go to papanash.com or .co, www.
I'll drop the links in the
You
bottom.
go to the website to download the recipes.
Yeah.
So food is just an amazing way of uniting people.
I love it, man. I love what you're doing with the food. It's something that I really resonate with, especially, you know, when I look back into my childhood memories. I remember all my cousins and all my family friends would come over, and you could just smell in the air the infusion of kebabs and biryani and all this food just cooking, and like the kids are playing and stuff, and then we all gather around the food. We sit there, we eat, and then after that, it's just like, the older people go and nap, right? And then we're just sitting there. It goes back into our ancient roots.
Correct.
And you mentioned we used to go hunt.
Oh yes.
After that, we bring the hunt home.
Correct.
Sit down, skin this thing, cook it up, eat it. The whole process of it, like that's it's spiritual almost.
It is. It shouldn't be rushed. For me, cooking should be a labor of love.
Be rushed.
And he mentioned the word biryani. I love biryani, and you know.
I saw the water in your mouth.
Cynthia, my dear wife, is very careful about watching her figure. And the day I cook biryani is the day she takes out all stops, and she says, when you make that, I can eat and eat and eat, because I make it from scratch. My biryani is also on the social media. And it's a labor of love. It takes me an hour. But I can cook a pot for 10 people with the same effort that I could cook for 2 people. So, of course, if I'm going to make biryani, I'm going to make 5 cups of rice. It's going to be a whole pot of goodness in there. Make it vegetarian, because my sister married a Welshman and he's vegetarian. And when I visited them in the UK, I taught them this dish. Till today, not only my sister's making it for him, her kids are making it. And they've all now got their own partners in life, and they're somewhere in London. And they tell me Mama Nash, right? Because Mama in Punjabi is mother's brother. Mama Nash, I'm still enjoying your biryani. And Mama Nash now is also Cynthia, because I'm Papa Nash. So I said, I now coin you as Mama Nash. And she's shy, but if you go to my channel, you see her making her marble cake, right? And her cakes are good. And you see my daughter Hannah there. And Hannah made these amazing matcha brownies. Who would have thought of green tea brownies? Not your traditional chocolate fudge brownies. No, green tea brownies are amazing.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds delicious.
Today is all about fusion and mixing things. Like people are getting married together, interracial marriages, food's getting mixed up, right?
I'm sure there's a lot of water, moistening up in the mouths of the viewers after all this food, you know. So let's spin the topic up a little bit and let's take us into question number 4. This is a wild one.
Yeah.
I know you're a cook, I know you're an engineer, I know you're passionate about entrepreneurship and all this other stuff, but
I do.
You know, I want to see your perspective on this. What do you think makes a killer?
Wow. Someone that can take the life of another?
Yes. So someone who can do it multiple times, someone who has the capacity to take.
Okay, for me it stems from the childhood, because the baby is innocent. When the child was born, the child was not a killer. Yeah. Somewhere along the line, they were impacted in some way that made it okay to hurt others and to enjoy hurting others. They were probably hurt as well. A simple conclusion, you know, if you have a child that's hurt and damaged, they need to be healed. I was married before and I suffered my first divorce, but the good thing is I healed myself. I spent years doing courses on myself. I spent years doing healing exercises, meditation helped, and I attracted a partner like Cynthia. But had I spun out of my marriage, being the damaged person that I was, guess what? After a few years, if I attracted another partner, I would have behaved in a way to make them become also someone that would be able to hurt me like that. But because I spent that 3 to 5 years really healing myself, I attracted a partner who's vibrant and a complete person. And I'm a complete person and we play. And I like this example someone gave me. A relationship should be 40% you, 40% your partner, and 20% space in the middle. Sometimes you are strong, so you are 60 and you push them, they're 40, and sometimes they push you back. So there's a bit of play, bit of give and take.
Very nice. I really like that.
But I've seen relationships where one person is 90% and the other person is 10, and they're constantly in a corner, constantly being suppressed. Not good. That will manifest later in the body as illness and all sorts. If you can't voice out how you feel and you're keeping it within you, you got to let it out somehow. You know, so people who want to kill others, people who genuinely enjoy seeing others suffer. Something went badly wrong with them in their childhood, the way they were brought up, the people they were exposed to, something traumatic happened to them. And it's sad, but I do believe that everyone can be rehabilitated. Everyone needs love, and if given love, love can conquer all.
What about if it was for the right reason?
Ooh, that's a good one, you know. For me, I'm against killing, so there's no right reason to kill.
Is that person still something happened to that person in their childhood if they can still kill someone but it's under control? Like I'm talking about, for example, let's create a scenario. You're in a house, you're with your family, your kids are sleeping, your wife's at home, someone breaks in, okay? You hear a gun clock.
Okay.
You know this guy is there to, okay, I'm going to make it a bit more intense. The dog is there, he shot the dog.
Oh.
Now you know he's...
If anyone shoots my dog, I'm going to kill him. I love my dog. No one's going to hurt my Coffee. Coffee Bulla is our dog.
I need that poke the bear.
Oh my God, don't hurt my dog.
Okay, the dog's dead now. And now you know this guy is serious. Or a woman.
Of course, I'll protect my family. I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family. Even if it means I need to take a life. But in this country, you're only justified to use the same amount of force as the perpetrator. You can't take a gun to someone who's got a knife.
I'll just take boiling hot water.
Yeah.
You know?
I would do whatever is necessary to incapacitate them and then call law enforcement.
How do you know though, like what the other person's got in their mind? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would be very careful in attacking anyone that comes into my house, because the fact that you come in uninvited tells me that your intentions are not the best.
It'd be funny if they just smelt the biryani. They're just like,
Papa Nash, I'm here to see you make biryani. If you don't make biryani in the next 1 hour, I'm going to kill your dog. I'll say, I'll cook biryani for you for the rest of my life.
Turns out they're just a fan, you know what I mean?
Could
they just
be.
wanted to meet you.
I run in the Hash Club, Hash House Harriers, and yesterday was our run. And after the run, so many people at the club came up to me and say, I love food. And they hugged me and they said, I've been watching your recipes and I'm learning how to cook.
Yeah. Well, guys, you know where to find him. Papa Nash. I can vouch for his food. I'm gonna wait till the sambal comes to me, then I'll let you guys know how the sambal is too. But connect with him on YouTube, connect with him on TikTok. All the links will be below. And
before we end, 1 second, I'm going to interrupt you. A shout out to Steve. Steve is a very good friend and a neighbor of mine.
Absolute champion.
Steve Subramaniam. And he's the guy that told me, Nash, you should start a YouTube channel. 2 years ago, I laughed. I scoffed. I said, never. And then 2 years on in June, suddenly the universe says, mate, start your YouTube channel. If you are serious about your charity efforts, you need to do this now.
Yeah. Steve's beautiful like that. He's got this
he's
gentle,
gifted.
bare heart. Yeah.
Exactly. He's gifted.
Yeah. Awesome guy. Anything else?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Pleasure to be here. It's an honor.